Hello, good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning NASDAQ. How's everyone doing out there? Hope you're having a great week. Here we are to wrap it up this morning. We're going to talk a little bit about the week, talk about some big cap breakouts on stuff that you've probably never heard about, like NVIDIA, SMCI. Talk about some gappers that we have. Do a little bit of fundamental analysis, technical analysis. You know the drill. If you know the drill, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. It costs you nothing. It's free. It shows your appreciation. You're here. We are your scanner. And while you're down there, if you're not already, check. If it doesn't say subscribed, give that button a click too. You won't regret it. But I can't promise that. But yeah, make sure the notifications bell is rung. We're live every single day, Monday through Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 8:45 a.m., Wednesdays at 9:15 a.m. for live trading. We also do Wine Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday nights. We're live all the time. We're posting videos every Monday, long form content for you guys to study, a little bit different than our pre-market stuff here. A lot more about what we're doing on the day-to-day with trading and any trading ideas we like to share. So hope you guys all enjoy it. So show some appreciation by hitting that thumbs up button and subscribing to the channel. All right, welcome in. William Gregory is first. Queen G, Jack, Bren, Joseph, Ashish, good morning. Good morning. Don't be afraid to use the Clover Trading YouTube chat. Get in there, talk amongst yourselves, talk to us, ask us questions. As we wrap up the gappers, we do like to answer some questions, try to keep it ticker related. Not necessarily like, are you watching this for this type of pattern? That stuff is much more for the Clover room, where we like to get in depth and talk about specifics right here. We're really trying to go through, see what the market temperature is like, what's moving, what is moving off the backs of what was moving yesterday and the day before, all that good stuff. So if you have ticker questions, gapper specific, love to answer those for you this morning. And we should wrap it up by 9:15. So what do you say, Huddy? How you doing?
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm getting quite good at that, though.
At what?
The Good Morning NASDAQ spiel.
Sometimes it just rolls off. I has to do, I think, with sleep, energy, and my overall mindset. If I'm happy or sad, don't like
How are you
to.
feeling today?
Energetic, happy, excited.
Okay.
We're on the
Love to hear
back of our boot camp in New York City, which was a smashing success. Got to meet a lot of you guys. Had a great time, but it was exhausting. Kyle left with less than the voice than he came with. My voice was up and down all week. I got some phlegm in there from the weekend. Still having withdrawals from the New York pizza, but we're making it work and we're back at it. Good this weekend for all you 4-leaf clovers. Going to get some video lessons out on February recap and February stats, and then March goals. So be on the lookout for that. If you you're interested in that, getting in the Clover room, link in the description, clovertrain.io. Post video lessons, do weekly webinars, trade alerts, watch list, all the shebang. $7 7-day trial, or you can just get involved and be a part of the rocket ship. Let's get going. All right, first one on the day, and the only 100% gapper, if my scanner's not wrong, like it was yesterday. We have AIMD. Let me get some stuff moving here.
So this is one that we've seen a lot lately.
We have. Talk to me about it. Talk to me about the dilution trackers.
I'm not exactly there right now, but
Well, then I'll walk you through it. 2 million float, biotech. News today is that there isn't any. 1 month ago, they had FDA news. Let's see if they did anything recently. They had a stock consolidation, so I'm guessing a reverse split to regain compliance. So nothing new today that I see. 5.8 months of cash left. Warrants at $4.50. And that is just short of where it topped out earlier. And that's all I'm seeing from dilution tracker. So lowish float. Anos, biotech, no news today. Let's go to the chart and talk to me, Huddy.
Yeah, it's one of those. AIMD.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had two recent gapping craps on this one. Both have faded quite nicely throughout the day. Kind of your lower float area. Yeah, I mean that's the most recent chart history I'd be looking into. Besides that, we have some bigger failures back in 2023 and 2022. Looks like there is one time where it really closed green.
Yeah.
But in this market, your guess is as good as mine because it seems like overhead resistance hasn't mattered too much. This one gives me kind of the Brea chart, type of vibes where you have overhead resistance, you have fresh bag holders. That's the one that kind of had the hard time running.
Where did that close yesterday? Oh, closed. We're below low a day, aren't we? AIMD. Yeah. So what Huddy's doing right there, just going through the daily chart history, trying to find days of interest, days where there's volume, days where the stock had PR, had news, basically just had people watching it. Most of these stocks that we're trading in small cap land are extinct until they are woken out of their slumber. And that's usually by PR, by a hot market. And all they have to do, the qualifications are usually lowish float with some sort of news or enough of a heated up market for them to get moving. And as you look back at all the big volume days, we're just kind of trying to draw comparisons or trends. And this one, you can definitely see that the majority of these big volume days here are red candles, meaning they were big gap up days, closed below their open, and didn't really spike all that much. So, and then the most recent one's probably going to be the most important just because that's the one that people remember the most. That's from 2024. Sorry, I burped. That's from 2024, big doji red day where the stock barely pushed like 20 cents a share and then faded over $1.50 a share towards the lows on decent volume, doing 30 million, kind of around there right now at 10 to 12 million. So we'll see how interesting this one is at the open. They have kind of had some sort of like little pump going the last few days. So if I dug in more, maybe we'd find some more potential news surrounding the stock filings or something. But this morning got the big gap, kind of running towards the end of pre-market here, kind of faded for the majority of the beginning. Ran yesterday after hours at 4 o'clock. Started at $1.20 as high as the 320s right now. For me, who doesn't trade a lot of day one stocks, I kind of try to look at it from both perspectives. How scary is it? If it's a certain threshold of scary, I'm okay just leaving it alone and letting it live its life. Your LYTs from yesterday, not thinking too much about resistance, recent reverse split, thinking about tiny float, thinking about ex-China scam. And what does it do? 8 to 18. Definitely doesn't mean that you just buy anything that's scary and it goes up. These are dangerous for a reason. But with these ones that are a little more low price, a little more less scary looking, try to look at it from both perspectives. From the short perspective, you got this 430 resistance on a chart where the behavior history on big gap up days is that it fails. Shown right here from just a few months ago. So that's kind of the area I'd be playing off of, either short into resistance type of idea or using that area as a guide for a similar type of candle. Long, same type of idea. Except I don't prefer this because it would be up over 200% into that level. Using that level as a breakout guide, multi-week, multi-month breakout. If it holds over it, if it's doing massive volume, is a Friday. For those ones, I like to wait till the afternoon just because I don't like buying stocks up that much, which is why I really hate gappers in the first place. Those are kind of my thoughts. To each their own, though, is kind of in the range here between the gap and the resistance in the 420s. So we'll see how it opens here in the next 30 minutes. If it's still strong, if it's still our leading gapper, probably will have the most attention in terms of short sellers wanting to attack for a gap and crap out of the gate when it's the only giant gapper of the day, unless there's one moving up right now, which I don't see yet. Okay, keep an eye on it. Yeah, and that's kind of AIMD in a nutshell. Lowish float, lowish price. I didn't find news. If you guys have it, put it in the chat. Having a nice move this morning. Next one that I see is PBM. Let's take a look at the information on it. It's a biotech company wrapping a 9.86 million float. It's listed on the Canadian Securities Exchange with a focus on natural psychedelics. How do you like this one? It's called Science, but it's spelled Pyence. We like this company. We like this company. That's cool. news today, 2 days ago, is that their subsidiary in Australia received Human Research Ethics Committee approval to initiate phase 2B study. Why do you write it with two Roman numerals? Phase 2B study. Okay, so they're working all across the globe. They're international. 88 months of cash, SPAC, previous SPAC. And once we look at the chart, this one's kind of interesting because it's on our gap list, up 100% on the day, but it has been running for 3 days with kind of light volume, 4 to 6 million volume, up from 60 cents to $1.50 over the past 3 days, and then gapping up over 100% right now into the high twos, low threes on a very fresh daily chart with not a lot of history through pretty much all the resistance on it. What does Huddy think about these type of gappers that just kind of come across in a very sketchy looking way?
We've seen so many of these in the past 3 or 4 months since we've been doing Good Morning NASDAQ. Feel like a lot of them have been kind of random, but the ones that do hold proper levels kind of get going. This one, I don't really see any proper levels that I can really judge that off of. So, on one hand, you got the clean fundamentals, you got the fresh chart. On the other hand, is this going to be the next leading shroom developer? I doubt it. Feels like more of a sympathy play off MNMD, which was the main runner from yesterday, Mind Medicine. They seem to have some kind of...
What was the ticker?
MNMD, I think it is.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I didn't think that was a small cap. I sat here all day. Did I really miss the biggest runner of the day? Was that an old OTC?
Yeah, so big runner for the shroom sector. It's kind of like it was the main runner back when shroom stocks got hot in 2020. So this kind of feels like a sympathy play to that.
The fact that we have to go to a 5-year chart to get those dates makes me feel old. Wow, yeah, I remember that one. I remember it a lot. So yeah, that would make sense that this is much more kind of running off of that. Has been moving, like I said, a few days though. Let's see what the intradays will look like. Not the most illiquid thing I've ever seen, but definitely getting some more attention this morning. I would probably think that would kind of play into more of the gap and crap theory, just thinking that it's already been uptrending on a decent move, over 100% in 3 days on okay volume. And this is kind of your blow-off day where maybe it's on people's radar for the first time, but it's already got potential people that want to sell, maybe some more selling pressure. And then now it's got a 100% tag on it, percent up on the day. Kind of in the boat here of 50-50. Wouldn't be surprised to see it break over these $4 area. Not the lowest float, right around 10 mil. But also wouldn't be surprised to see, we've seen this, I don't know if it was IFBD, which was a lot more of a scammy thing. But any of these companies that kind of trickle up, and then they get the big gap, I feel like we have seen a decent amount of those fail. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that either. But I definitely know that I can lose $0 by not trading it at all. So I think I'll probably do that. So those are your two biggest gappers. What'd you say?
That's an option?
It is always an option.
Right,
maybe not for you, but...
Learn something new every day.
You learn something new. I think a lot of people think that crap, it's up 100%. That must mean it's an A+. Like that's the only prerequisite for a long or a short. And without stats or back testing having been done, you're kind of walking through a lot of landmines with how many weird gappers we've seen in the last few months. So to each their own, but those are the two, AIMD and PBM. We do have CERO, which is gapping up, but not a lot of interest from me. I think maybe like a Kyle might be interested in this. You had a pretty insane gap of crap. So this is kind of similar to this chart, but the last one we saw where it's really fresh, really new, and just kind of gapping into candles that don't have any volume on them. And this one was one of the better gap and craps I think you'll ever see in the history of gap and craps, where the opening print is the high of day, and then it proceeds to fade like 80%. Not something you see every day, not necessarily predictable either, but quite impressive there. Almost feels liquidation-y on that one, the more I look at it. But kind of doing some pre-market volume here. I know Kyle likes to look at that stuff with the pumps. I try to stay away from it, but it is doing pre-market. It's doing volume this morning pre-market near the lows, but it still is, again, up like $1.50, $2 a share off the lows from yesterday. So this isn't your typical day one gapper right now. To the long side, I definitely would be avoiding this for myself just because of yesterday's candle. I wouldn't treat this type of thing like a first green day. I wouldn't treat this thing like a bounce. We've already done a third of yesterday's volume in pre-market. That's kind of sketch in my opinion. Maybe something is going on behind the scenes here, but wouldn't be surprised to see this lower today. More than I would be surprised to see it at 7 or 8. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I think the general thought is that when you have a liquidation play and then you have this like pre-market bounce, it's under the premise that whoever they are, they weren't able to sell all their shares, so they're creating a pre-market, gap up to entice people into some kind of first green day type of look, and then they're able to dump what they, couldn't dump yesterday at the lows because there was no volume and no buying. I think that's the premise behind it. But how to tell whether this one is the one that they dumped today or this is the one that they spike it back to 10 and then they dump? Like I don't, beats me. But that's just the general philosophy behind these. So I don't know. I won't necessarily be trading it, but we'll see what it does.
It's an easy avoid for me. This is one that probably I won't even look at once we head off this. I probably won't even check in on it. Like that's how little I care about it. Because I'm looking for my edges in the market, and every time I put something new on my chart or new on my screen, that's a potential distraction to what I'm trying to do for myself. And I encourage you all to find your patterns, whether that's through mentorship, through free material, through back testing, and just studying a million charts. Find something that makes sense to you. The edge in this game is so small that everything you try to do outside of whatever you actually have stats and information and edge on is just killing your bottom line. So this stuff is interesting. It's fun to look at, but not every single thing we pull up means that a position needs to be taken on it long or short. You are just allowed to watch, be entertained, to learn. So that's a little piece of advice for you. MIRA moving. Is this one we talked about recently? I don't know if it is. Up 53%, so just starting to make its way into scanners. Looks like it was up more earlier in the morning. Now it's just kind of going sideways in these areas. Also ran yesterday at 4 o'clock after hours, 2.88 million float. How does something go after hours and it's not showing me news? I need like a better news source. You ever wonder like you're just not getting the full picture, but you accept it because you checked for 5 seconds?
Yep.
But I wouldn't be diving into something. I'd only be diving into deep into something if I really thought I had an edge due to the technicals. And when I pull up something like this, I just don't get all that interested. It's, daily chart wise has gone on some moves recently, but we're talking about days where the stock did 132,000 shares on a $3 stock. Not that impressive. On the days it has done decent volume, it hasn't gone far and it's faded right back to where it's came from. We're gapping from $1 into the mid dollars towards $2. Maybe it's something that kind of clears through this resistance and starts to move. What I say the float was 2.88. It's just not something I'm going to try to predict that on. Fresh chart from 2023. All the big volume days are all weird days towards the end of a run or a bounce. So not really a history of like our normal gaps where the stocks are just going sideways on the daily chart and then they gap up big. It's kind of a top left and bottom right that just kind of uses its bounces with decent volume to make the new lower high to continue fading. But no interest there from me. Let's see here if there's any questions. I have a sip of my coffee. My mug says, beautiful day. Clip that. No question. Someone asked, is PRCH a good swing idea this weekend? Fran, I thought we asked specifically not to ask questions like that. I wouldn't even probably know how to answer that in the room because it's 9 o'clock on Friday morning. Why can't I typed in Fran? I'm an idiot. I kept typing in Fran as the ticker. PRCH. This is something that I have no interest in, not because I don't think it can work or because it has merit, because it's not what I do. This has to be, and once you trade longer, You will start to learn by daily charts if it fits into your niche or not. And I would almost guarantee that this is a bigger float. Let me check. 69 million. It's a much bigger market cap than we're used to. It looks like a real company. Look at this daily chart. This daily chart, when the stock's doing nothing and consolidating, is doing the same volume it does when it's trying to break out, or very much close to it. There is increases here and there on decent sized green days. But generally speaking, this area, when I have a 100-day chart up and we pull up, give me one of the gappers today. AIMD.
AIMD.
Look at the same 100-day chart. Look at the volume. There is like negative volume going on most of it. So I know that it's not a real company that's getting interest and attention every day, constantly releasing news, constantly having shareholder meetings and people talking to investors. When I pull up PRCH, this is making me hungry now because I'm reading it as perch and I want to go fishing. Look at the same 100-day chart. There's volume every single day. It's too real for me to trade. I know that sounds weird, but in small cap land, our edge is in the inefficiencies. It's in the, overvaluedness. It's in the hype. It's in sometimes the things that aren't necessarily obvious, like good news and catalysts. It's in the float size and the share structure and the dilution. And so this is, yes, a big breakout, but I don't trade big breakouts on mid caps. And unless it fits a very specific situation. And even then, I struggle. I didn't do well on SOUN. Haven't been a part of SMCI long. I lost a few times this week on it. It's just not my specialty. And because of those things, when I see charts like this, there's no range. Like on a day-to-day basis, we're trying to make, you're talking about LYTs, you're talking about CEROs. We're talking about 50, 100%, 200% type of volatility in a day. Those type of trades I want to be watching because when they come together for me on the daily chart, I know on a given day that I can expect to make 50 to 100%. In the CER's case, maybe on a short. I can't do that here. I don't think I can. We're already up 28% on the day here. What is the biggest green day on this chart? A day from 167 to 2. So to get that, if I made that entire move and I got a bottom tick and a top tick, I'd be making less than 40 cents, 40 or 50 cents. So I have to be risking 5 cents or less to make good money on that. No, thank you. I don't want that in my life. If you're an investor, someone who's trading this around a core, trading it into support, selling weeks later, different strategy, but that's not what we do. William says nice line chart, bro. Is he making fun of me or? I use line charts on my phone. I know Huddy does too. I've seen Jack do it too. The Google charts. If you really just need a price, and you're like, well, that's a decent trend, and the line chart gives you it without all the emotion of the wicks and stuff. We like ourselves some line. We love line charts.
You get to be ignorant of the
of
the wicks.
You really get to just see the trend, if you will. Quick reminder here before we get to the last few questions. If you want to hit that thumbs up button for us, it would be appreciated. Help keep the show free. And by that, I mean keep it on the air because that's all we really do. And we enjoy doing it for you. We love doing it. So if you love what you see or you hate what you see, whatever it is, just hit the thumbs up button. You've been reminded. You have no excuse now unless you're going out of your way just to be rude to us. And that way, we think, I want to say it, we'd just rather not have you here if you're just not willing to hit the thumbs up button, All right. I'm trying to look for ticker questions. You guys are asking a lot of questions that need to be asked in the room. These are a lot of webinar questions, stuff about attempts on stocks, individual trades, accumulation of trades. Those are questions to ask me to make a video lesson about that you're going to watch, or to ask me in a webinar. We're doing a 30-minute quick show on the gappers. Kevin says PRCH is a value company. It is a value company. We are not value investors. Except Huddy pretends to be sometimes. When he told me that Tesla bottomed on January 3rd or something. Or the market bottomed last year. OCEA.
Good value down there.
OCEA. Nice little, I don't know if I said it yesterday or if it was on the webinar. This is the chart you guys should be studying if you're looking to trade the life cycle of a penny stock. We got breakouts. We got first red days. We got first green days. kind of a little late in the pattern here. We've already broken out. We've already gone on 2 big moves, already had big red days, already bounced yesterday. And now we're kind of in no man's land where we're far away from the breakout level, far away from the death line in 350s. I tend to leave these things alone, let them live on their watch list. And when they set up again for something or they fade off, then I'll be there. So it's one that I'm watching, but nothing that I think I need to do anything with today. Someone asked about NKGN bounce day. This is like the 12th time I got asked this. Yesterday was a green day. It can bounce, but the first green day, like in its name, is inferring that the stock hasn't been green in the last few days. This is a big gap day on NKGN where it went from 1 to 4. Yesterday is a day in which it closed at 195, which was 11 cents higher than red. So to me, I guess if you just want to fudge the system a little and like look at it like it was so close to being red and it's faded off nicely, then I can see that. As far as the criteria goes, it's not quite there. I think there are better bounce plays out there today, but this is kind of what I'm looking for in terms of a fade. William Gregory says NKGN technically hasn't had a first red day. I'm with you, William. I'm with you. But which means this one will probably be the biggest bouncer of the day because I'm talking about a 10-cent difference on a $2 stock, and it could work. Euro says, does the penny stock framework apply to listed stocks? Well, gosh, I hope so, because that's what I do. So I would say yes. Yes, it does. All these stocks, when they hold up, go through the whole thing. That's what you're looking at when you look at OCEA. And if you want to learn more about that, head on over to clovertrading.io, and we'd be happy to walk you through many examples of that and teach you the ins and outs of all of it, because most of the Clovers are basically trading some portion of this move, whether it's the day one day, whether it's the breakout day, whether it's the first red day, whether it's the first green day. We got a little bit of everything here. Or you're Jack Kellogg and you trade every day of the entire move. We got it all over here. So if you're interested, come on over. I appreciate the 15 of you that liked it on my last tie rant. But that is 9:15 on the Dizot. Excited for today. I got some energy. I'm going to harness that energy to the best of my abilities to close the week strong. Huddy, are you prepared and ready to go for today?
Yeah, I was ready and prepared as I'm going to be.
That's awesome. See, I want everyone out there to look yourself in the mirror and say, am I prepared? Do I have my little sticky sheets out that are reminding me of the rules I need to make today, of the rules I have to follow, the discipline I need, the patterns I'm going to trade? Those are important things, very important things, and you have 14 minutes to get it figured out before that bell. We actually saw the bell get rung last week, or this week. Was it this week? Wow.
Last week.
Monday.
This week.
What is
Monday.
Today? Oh my gosh. I'm going to go back to being tired. All right, everybody. We will see you a Monday morning, 8:45 a.m. for another episode of Good Morning NASDAQ. I hope you have a great Friday, a safe Friday. I was telling Huddy about this yesterday. I think it's kind of crazy that we work in an industry where an acceptable closing remark is have a safe day, but it is. So I hope that you do have a safe day. Stay smart out there. Stick to your edge. Do the best of your abilities to be the best version of yourself you possibly can be. And no matter what, you'll go into this weekend proud of the way that you traded. Have a wonderful, wonderful day and a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We'll see you first thing Monday morning for another episode of Good Morning NASDAQ. Goodbye now.